Hey there, it's Shadow Penguin, back again with another Skyrim build. Today I bring you the Kensai. The Kensai, perhaps surprisingly, began life in one of the most privileged ways imaginable. She was born into House Tamrith, one of the most wealthy and influential families in High Rock. Her childhood was spent in the wealthiest quarter of Rivenspire. However, rare were the times where she was able to wander and get lost amongst the labyrinthine streets and immerse herself in its rhythms, for she was being trained for a greater purpose, to enter the unscrupulous world of Brittany politics. At the age of 20, she burst onto the political scene. She was a compelling speaker, of the kind that could convince you that black was white before you realised your mistake and had already voted for her. Riding on a wave of popular support, however, she made one fatal error. She had realised that she was beginning to gain a cult following among the destitute lower class in High Rock. She had publicly lamented the failings of the social structure of her fragmented nation, which allowed those fortunate enough to be born into the ponderous upper class to flourish, whilst in stark contrast, those born into the working class had no prospect of advancement. This rise in popularity came much to the consternation of her political opponents. Not only were they threatened by her oratory ability, but her tactics could have the potential to usher in a new age of politics in High Rock, whereby the political class would have to rely on support from the lower echelons of society and therefore be beholden to their whims. The Kensai began to hear mutterings of this threat on her life, so she demanded that the swordmaster in her household instruct her in the art of combat, choosing the katana as her weapon of choice, as its exquisite balance suited her down to the ground. She knew that she would not have the strength of many of her opponents, so instead relied on poise and speed. Her foresight was fortunate indeed, as almost a year after her training began, such an attempt on her life occurred. Our build's eyes shot open one night to see a figure cloaked in shadow standing over her bed, blade raised. Thinking quickly, our build cast Mage Light, and her assailant fell back with a sharp cry of pain, blinded by the sudden light that had sprung into life between them. Rolling off her bed, the Kensai threw her bedsheet over the would-be assassin and grabbed the katana from underneath the bed, slashing the figure from shoulder to hip. Springing forwards, she noted another figure in the doorway, who swung at her with breathtaking speed. She was barely able to turn away his sword with a twist of her own. Using her superior agility to twist beneath his next strike, her assailant's sword carried on past her and lodged into the wood of her doorway. Flashing a bright white smile in the darkness, the assassin let go of the handle and grabbed our build, both of them falling into the main hall, where the threat was finally ended with a downwards thrust of the katana. Getting to her feet, the Kensai was met with a harrowing scene. 4 of her guards lay dead on the floor, with her swordmaster fending off 2 assassins at once, clutching a deep wound in his side. As he charged forward to even the odds, an explosion deafened her. Ears ringing and reeling from the blast, the Kensai noticed flames beginning to devour the foundations of her house in front of her eyes. The assailants wanting not only to kill her, but send a powerful message to any others wishing to oppose their overlords. Seeing that her beloved swordmaster had perished in the explosions, she sprinted towards the window at the back of her residence, just making it clear before the entire building erupted into flames. Leaving the trails of smoke behind, our build was justifiably disillusioned with the world of politics, and proceeded to have a decidedly hermit-esque experience for the next 20 years of her life, with nothing but her katana, spells and thoughts to illuminate her darkness. Eventually, the thirst for adventure took her, and she set off towards Skyrim, hoping to broaden her horizons. Unfortunately, she was caught in the skirmish at Darkwater Pass, and was carted off to Helgen to await execution. From there, your story begins. The stat spread for this build is a 3rd each for magicka, health and stamina, with your main skills being one-handed, block and alteration. However, you may also find restoration useful. Your equipment for this build is the blade sword and green mage's robes. Your playstyle is where things get really interesting. Remember, kiting is your friend. Essentially, judging the strikes of your opponents when in large groups and moving backwards to avoid as much damage as you can, whilst meting out damage of your own. Blocking is also important, as you will be able to stop many of your opponent's strikes before they land, using the perk which slows down time when blocking in the case of enemy power attacks. Before you enter into any confrontation with this build, remember to use a protection spell, such as Ebony Flesh, to boost your stats, remembering not to wear armour in order to boost its effectiveness. Your main shout will be Elemental Fury in order to make your strikes much faster, to down hard-hitting NPCs as quickly as possible. Your standing stone for this build is the Action Stone, with the recommended questline of the main quest, College of Winterhold, Bard's College, and the Companion's questline. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time with another video. Sorry my voice sounded so croaky in this video. I have had a cold for the past week or so. I just wanted to get this video out here to give you guys another build video, because I know that's what I like to make, and I know that's what you guys like to see the most. So anyway, see you next time.